My name is Whitney Beals. I am the Director of Land Protection for the New England Forestry Foundation, where I've worked since 1999. If you as a landowner are interested in protecting your property for whatever reason, it may be that it's an important piece of local open space, it may be that it's a large working forest, there are two principal ways that a landowner can do that. One is to donate the land outright to a nonprofit organization, such as us. Another more common way is through donating a conservation easement on a piece of property. By donating a conservation easement, the landowner is giving away his or her or their future rights to develop the property, but they maintain ownership of that land. The donation of a conservation easement is a permanent act. It means that you forever have given up the right to develop that property. However, you can sell that property to anyone, but the new owner has to abide by the terms of that conservation easement as well. If one of the motivations for you, the landowner, is to reduce the property taxes on your property, then there are ways to do it other than to donate a conservation easement on it. The other ways involve temporary, sometimes 10-year programs, and in those cases, you put it into chapter, as we call it, and it gets a reduced assessment and therefore reduced taxes accordingly. If you're a landowner who wants to donate a piece of property outright, you just write a deed or have an attorney draw the deed up and you sign it, and it becomes the property of the land trust or whichever nonprofit group you might be working with. Donating a conservation easement is a more complex process. It involves drafting up a deed of conservation easement, and in that deed there have to be certain provisions in order to be qualified for a tax deduction according to IRS rules. But easements are pretty flexible documents. There's quite a bit of latitude with respect to what a landowner can and cannot do. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about conservation easement. Some land trusts might present you with a document that says, here, this is all we can do, it's all boilerplate, our board won't accept anything else. But if there's certain things that you would like to see in that easement, I would always push back a bit. If you, the landowner, are interested in donating a conservation easement on your property, there are some costs, out-of-pocket costs involved. One would be the cost of the appraisal. And because the appraisal is a two-step process, the conservation easement appraisal is more expensive than just getting a standard appraisal on your land. And it's a cost that the landowner has to bear. The nonprofit cannot be the one to obtain the appraisal. Those are IRS rules. Another cost in conveying a conservation easement might be the gift of an amount of money to the land trust's conservation easement and stewardship fund or monitoring fund, because when a land trust takes on a conservation easement, it takes on a permanent obligation to monitor that property from time to time to make sure that the landowner is abiding by the terms of the easement. Sometimes there's funding available for the purchase of land for conservation or the purchase of conservation easements. To determine whether or not there might be funding available, let's say you cannot afford to donate the land outright or donate the conservation easement, you should contact a land protection professional who might work for that local land trust or might work for a state agency. Various states do have funding programs. Some of them come from federal dollars through federal agencies. In January 2013, Congress reenacted the enhanced tax deduction provisions for donating conservation easements. The new law actually is an increase from 30% of adjusted gross income to 50%. And the carry-forward period was increased from 5 years to 15, which means that people of relatively low income on an annual basis can benefit much more from the new law. If you, the landowner, have made the decision to protect your property and don't know whether or not there's even a local land trust in the area where the land is situated, then you can go to the Land Trust Alliance website, the Land Trust Alliance being the National Trade Association for Land Trusts. Not all land trusts are members of the LTA, they don't necessarily pay annual dues to be members, but the fact that that land trust, non-dues paying land trust, exists is recognized by the LTA and would appear on its website. And the website is just lta.org. Thank you for listening. I hope that you make a decision to protect your property permanently for future generations. Here in the Northeast, a lot of our land is getting fragmented through multiple ownerships as it passes down through generations. Land trusts are working hard to prevent that from happening. As lands get fragmented, then wildlife habitats get broken up, and it becomes more difficult for society to obtain the wood products that we find so necessary in our daily lives. So again, I hope you make that decision to protect your land.